All right, our first day of media availability is in the books here at the 2015 NFL Draft Combine in freezing Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm Dan Labbe. She's Mary Kay Cabot. And Mary Kay, really the big thing for Browns fans was Mike Pettine spoke today, and he talked about Johnny Manziel. He talked about Textgate. Let's start with Johnny. He's visited him. Didn't talk a lot of football with him, and also didn't sound very confident that this is a guy who can be their starting quarterback next year.
No, he was very realistic. The one thing that you will get from Mike Pettine is honesty. He will always tell it like it is, and I think Browns fans can really appreciate or should appreciate that. He basically, I asked him point blank, do you feel like you have to head into the draft and free agency looking for a starting quarterback? And he said yes. You have to approach it that way. They have no idea if they can count on Johnny Manziel. Now, would it be great if he can come out of rehab and he can turn into the starting quarterback that they envisioned when they drafted him number 22 overall? Yes, that would be fantastic for them. But they know they can't count on it. They will look hard at the quarterbacks in this draft, and they will look at all the quarterbacks in free agency and on other teams' rosters.
One of those guys is Brian Hoyer. He came up today.
He did. You know what? Brian Hoyer, the door is still open, but the vibe that I've been getting lately, the signs are pointing to a departure for Brian Hoyer. That's just kind of the feeling that I'm getting. The Browns are looking at Josh McCown. They're inquiring about him. He was actually coached by John DeFilippo when he was with the Raiders. Now, again, he would be more of a mentor type of a guy. So that would be more, hey, look, we need somebody to kind of mentor Johnny Manziel or whatever younger guys we bring in here. I think Brian wants an opportunity to go somewhere and start. The Browns haven't really jumped on getting with his agent. I mean, they really haven't. They haven't met with him yet. There's a chance it could happen here by the end of the weekend, but it hasn't been a sense of urgency. They've been talking to a lot of other guys. It seems like they're working hard to get Buster Skrine under contract. I don't get that same sense of urgency when we're talking about Brian Hoyer.
The other thing, of course, was Textgate, and Mike Pettine came out and said it. He wasn't thrilled with how the whole thing went down. He said that trust kind of had to be rebuilt a little bit with Ray Farmer. Again, you mentioned it right off the top. He's very honest, and he's not going to pull punches, even in a setting like this.
Yeah, I mean, it really, it cost the organization some things in terms of it might cost them a draft pick, it might cost them a fine, it might cost them their GM for the first 4 games of the season, and of course, it's been a major distraction. It was part of the reason that Kyle Shanahan left, and so, it was a heavy price to pay. But you know what? They're in the same corner. Mike Pettine talked about the fact that when they went on that 3-day retreat with Jimmy Haslam, they came away tighter, better, more focused, and sort of poised to move this thing forward.
Everything Mike Pettine said, it's at cleveland.com/Browns. Tomorrow we hear from Ray Farmer for the first time in all of this. And look, his last press conference in the middle of the season, he was a little bit surly, a little standoffish. What do you expect to see out of Ray Farmer tomorrow?
I don't think he'll get too much into Textgate, seeing as though that's still under investigation and the results haven't been handed down yet. I don't think he'll be able to address that too much. So I think we'll get into more about asking him about Brian Hoyer and the free agents and Marcus Mariota and trading those 2 first-round picks. So I think it'll be very football-driven. And I think he'll jump off of that topic as quickly as possible. I think they also have to answer for Josh Gordon and that whole thing. There's now a grievance where the NFLPA is saying that they didn't fine him, they didn't notify him about lates. Mike Pettine said today he was fined. I was told he was notified in writing. So we'll see how that one turns out, too.
One last thing. We haven't really talked much about this, but Kevin O'Connell, officially their quarterbacks coach, Mike Pettine talked about it today, about O'Connell working with Marcus Mariota, said it wasn't really a big deal. A lot of those reports were overblown. Is there anything to any of that? Does it indicate an interest in Mariota?
You know what? I do think they're interested in Marcus Mariota. From everything that I had heard, Ray Farmer was very high on him last year, and he had another really good season. And even when you talk to, Lovie Smith with the Bucks, they have the number 1 pick. They all talk about, hey, it's between, it could be between Winston and Mariota. So he is in the discussion that way. Although I think most people think that Winston is sort of separating himself from a talent standpoint. But he's in the discussion for a lot of teams up in that top tier. So I think the Browns have to look at him just in terms of they need a starting quarterback. Will they decide to sort of mortgage the future, as they say, and trade the 12 and the 19 pick to get a quarterback? You know what? In my opinion, if you see a franchise quarterback there, you do what it takes to get him. So I've always been that way. If you're going to whiff on a first rounder, I'd rather have you whiff on a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of, right? I mean, over the years, there have been a lot of whiffs. I'd rather take a chance on a good quarterback.
But at least do your homework on the guy. Johnny Manziel, we're a little unsure if they actually did as much homework as they should have on Manziel. Okay, 2 more days of these shows at the Combine. The Combine runs through next week. We'll have coverage through Saturday of the Combine, and at some point we'll have to do a cleveland.com Browns team Combine. Test out our 40 times, see who's faster, you, me, or Tom Reed. My money is on Mary Kay Cabot.
I can do it in 5-inch heels, Dan. Try that.
All right. She's Mary Kay Cabot. I'm Dan Labbe. Thanks for watching.